you're taping.
Okay. Hey, Kalina, it's good to see you again today.
You too.
Thanks for coming back. I just had a few notes from our last session. You had mentioned that that your main reason for coming in is that you were feeling really overwhelmed with everything that was going on in your life, that your husband had started school, your fiance had started school full time, and that all of his downtime was spent studying or at the library, so you had picked up additional duties around the house, that you had a full-time job at the factory, and that you were worried because you didn't feel as involved in that job, kind of like you were watching yourself go through life. And you mentioned that it had become kind of a chore to go out with your friends, that anytime you agreed to go somewhere, you started kind of dreading that you had agreed to go. And then I thought it was interesting that when I asked you about your support group, you said that if you were to ask your family for help, that they would see that as weakness because you're supposed to be able to handle everything. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that you didn't feel like you were handling everything in a competent manner like you once did. How was this week for you with all of that? Are you still feeling the same?
Yeah, I think it just got worse. There were a few nights that I just went home and went to bed. I didn't even cook dinner or prepare our lunches for the next day, or usually I prepare a little bit as I'm cooking dinner for the following night. It just makes it a little bit easier. And there were 2 nights where I didn't care. I told him he needed to just go to the local store and buy something for dinner. I just went to bed.
Okay, so you're feeling even more drained than you were last week. And you had mentioned that that all of these recent issues were making you feel incompetent. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you're feeling incompetent?
Well, I was always okay to I was always able to just pick up whatever needed to get done. And I always did it, at school. I always got straight A's, and even at the factory, learning, whenever somebody needed to learn something new, if we had a new product on the line, I was always the first one because they knew I could pick it up easily. Mm-hmm. And I thought, planning a wedding would be no problem. How difficult is it to plan a wedding? You call a few vendors, you're okay. But it just seems like I'm not doing things to the best of my ability, or I don't feel that I am. And it's maybe because things aren't coming as easily. I don't know what the protocol is for a wedding. I don't, things just aren't clicking as easily as they used to. And, he wants me to learn how to cook new things. He's a little tired of the same thing over and over again. And I don't know, I don't really have that drive, I guess, to learn new things. And I think it would be easier to just pay somebody to plan the wedding, but I was told that we don't, I know that we don't have the money for that, but, it would have just been easier.
Right. So it sounds like you're used to things coming more easily to you, that it's been more of a struggle than maybe it used to be? Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything specific that's just, or is it just kind of a general overall feeling that you're just...
I think it's a general overall feeling. Even in my mind, things just aren't as clear as they used to be. I don't feel like I'm just picking things up as quickly.
Okay. And has anything changed as far as your process of how you go about doing things? Has being overwhelmed affected your...
I think so. Just being tired. Tired of, I'm just more tired all the time. I used to be very energetic, and just now I just want to go to sleep all the time, even if I can. Those 2 nights that was really abnormal, but I'm just tired all the time.
And you said you worked at a factory that makes, what does it make?
Bicycles.
Bicycles. I was just curious, have you been to a doctor, just to check you out and make sure that there's nothing physically?
Well, I had a physical, but I think that was, probably a good 6 or 8 months ago. And it's a family doctor, so I can't say, it's kind of like what you call the Are You Breathing physical. It's, kind of routine physical. So they just do paperwork to push out the door. It wasn't a very in-depth physical. I don't think I've really ever had anything that depth done. And I know that they did change some of the paints that they were using on the bikes, and, they've been changing a few things in the factory.
Yeah, I'd just be... it'd make me feel better if you were to just make sure there's something physical going on, just in case that's an issue, especially with you working at a factory and changes. And you said it kind of just snuck up on you, so if it's something like that.
I could see it might, I'd be willing to have a few tests run you know, when I can, it just, the days just are so full
Yeah,
sometimes,
I know,
and,
it's busy.
yeah.
Then I also wanted to ask you about, I definitely would do that, make an appointment just to, you know, just for peace of mind if nothing else, to make sure that everything's okay. But I was interested in your family situation because you had mentioned that if you were to ask them for any kind of support, you know, that they would see you as weak.
Mhm.
And can you tell me a little bit more about that? Do you see yourself as weak? Do you?
A little bit. I mean, I think it's okay. I have friends that ask me for help for different things, and you know, people on the line will ask for help. And I mean, I think it's, you know, good if you need help, you should ask for it.
You don't see them as being weak because they've asked you for
No,
help?
I think, but my family, I'm the youngest of three. I have two older brothers, and you were just very young. You know, you had to just do what needed to get done. And everybody had different responsibilities and different chores, and you weren't allowed to complain. And, you know, you really weren't allowed to ask for help. You know, it was just frowned upon. There was a time, I remember this so clearly, when I was younger, and I was in charge of doing the laundry, and I couldn't get all the laundry out of the washing machine to put it into the dryer. We just got a new one that was a little taller. And I remember asking my brother for help, and my mother overheard. And she said, "Don't ask your brother for help. Find a step stool, get on it, find a way to get the laundry from the one to the other." And I think that that's just been, you know, you don't ask somebody, you have to find a way to make it work. That's just always been the rule.
Do you think she was more concerned about your self-sufficiency or just the fact that it made you appear to be a weak person? Or
That's a good
like,
question. Probably a little bit of both. I mean, my parents did want us to be self-sufficient. You know, the rule was, you know, you didn't stay home past a certain age. You were, you know, you left home.
contributing, working?
Yeah. But I think it was a little bit of both. My mother was a very strong-willed woman, and I don't think she wanted, you know, she raised the boys to be men.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was supposed to be a mix of both. You had to act appropriately as a lady, but you also needed to be able to take care of yourself. So maybe a little bit of both.
And how do you feel about yourself today? Do you feel like a strong,
I think I used
self-sufficient?
to. I used to until some of this started happening, and now I just feel like it was a snowball. Like what started off as being just a little bit of, you know, being tired or not being able to do this, just went downhill. And it went downhill so fast. Now I just feel like, I mean, it was hard to not make dinner those 2 nights. I mean, and I just really was just so exhausted, I just had to go to bed. But it just, the snowball's just going so fast. It's more and more things that I'm just not being able to do. I mean, how hard's dinner, really? Not that hard, you know, but I couldn't even do it.
Depends. I mean, it depends on what all else you have going on. But, I mean, I can certainly see, I mean, I can imagine that there are lots of women at the end of the day who don't really feel like making dinner. But, I mean, if that's something that you feel you should be able to do, then.
And I do, you know, I mean, he's in school all day, and, you know, he has stuff to do at night, and that's what I'm supposed to do.
So, you did mention that you were really good at your job, that they would
Mhm.
select you for new lines because you were quick to learn. But lately you haven't been feeling really connected with your job.
Yeah, I haven't really learned anything new, and I think that might be, I used to like it when I could move to a different, you know, part of the bike, or a new bike came on the line. It was just made it interesting, because, you know, when you work in a factory, after a while, it's the same thing over and over and over again. And, you know, with the economy, they haven't really changed up, and we haven't gotten a lot of new products. So just kind of
Sort of get
repetitive.
more mundane, kind of not so interesting. as
Yeah.
it used to be. When you kind of see yourself working, what is it you're thinking about while you're watching yourself put together bicycles?
All the stuff that I have to do when I get home, or things that I need to do for the wedding. And then, you know, sometimes when I'm on the line, then I start thinking about how my fiance wants me to go to school for something. I have no idea what I would even go to school for. I mean, I kind of like working at the factory, and, you know, maybe it would be better if we had different bikes come along, but I don't know what I would want to go to school for. So it's like my mind starts going on a loop. It's like dinner, wedding, school, dinner, wedding, school, what I have to do at the house, you know.
So you'd say the majority of your time is spent worrying about how are these things going to turn out. So would you say if you knew for sure how something was going to end, it would make you feel better? Like, are you the type of person that likes to, know what the end product's going to be, or do you
Yeah, I guess. Or at least knowing how I'm going to get there.
having a plan, you would say? So if you had some sort of plan to make it through
Yeah, I think
the
that
wedding
would be-
preparations and all
Especially
that.
the wedding. I don't understand the whole protocol about, do you do buffet, do you do sit down, do you do DJ, do you do band? I haven't attended a lot of weddings, and my mother, they eloped, so she's really doesn't have too much of an opinion, so I don't know what is the proper thing to do.
Okay. And the expectations for the wedding, do you have some, or are you?
I think my future in-laws have, some expectations, but they live out of state and I don't communicate with them too much, but they seem to come from a more middle upper class background, whereas, we're factory workers, we're very blue collar, so I don't know I think they have high expectations, and, sometimes the few weddings that I've been to, they've been in somebody's backyard or the VFW, and this is going to be at a nice country club, and people are asking me all these questions, and I have no idea what they're talking about.
These people are.
Some of the people at the restaurant, some of the vendors that I call, I don't know.
So how does that make you feel that you feel like his parents are expecting this big shindig, and maybe from where you're from, how does that make you feel?
I guess just in a little bit of way, like lower class, not what they wanted their son to marry. I mean, they're nice people, and they've always been nice to me, but, you get a little bit of the, marrying her kind of feeling. It's not, like they just wanted more for him.
I bet that's hurtful.
It is, especially because I always, felt normal until then. And he doesn't make me feel that way, a little bit with the schooling, or not wanting to be married to somebody who works in a factory. But, I never really felt insufficient until more recently.
Until his family got involved. Just trying to process what you told me. I just can't imagine that would be difficult. All of a sudden, you've been feeling like this self-sufficient, perfectly capable woman. You grew up in a family that taught you to be strong, and those are great qualities. You've done great at your job. And it sounds like your fiance is pretty happy with. Yeah,
I think he is. I think he wants us to, have a higher income. That's why he, suggested school. So I don't think it matters what a degree or anything like that. I think he just wants us to be just a little bit more, have a availability for a higher income.
Is he thinking about kids in the future, or just for you?
He definitely would like kids in the future.
So he's kind of looking towards the future.
And he wants them to have a nice life, and sometimes it's easier, even if I worked part-time, but a higher salary, and be able to stay home with the children while they're young, that would work. Yeah, he wants like 3 or 4, I'd be happy with 1. I don't know about 3 or 4 kids. I'm good with kids, but they're expensive.
And how do you kind of see the future with him after the wedding? After you get through, the hassle of planning a wedding.
Sometimes it's hard. I'm so overwhelmed with everything.
It's hard to see past.
Yeah, all I can see is the wedding and him finishing school, and I know that he wants children one day, and I can kind of see how that might play out, but I can't seem to think that far.
It's like a wall.
Yeah.
Really thinking about the future too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you would say the wall is mostly just the wedding? Is that the biggest
I think so.
thing right now?
I think so. I just think that I'll feel like a weight is lifted off my shoulders after this freaking wedding's done, because it's not even enjoyable anymore. I think my parents kind of had the best plan with just eloping. So at this point.
I eloped, so I completely understand that. But do you have any, it sounds like you want to have a nice wedding. I mean,
I'd be
maybe your
happy with a
standards,
smaller
yeah.
one, you know what I mean? Not, I don't know, they have a lot of family, and my family's a lot smaller, and you have to invite, I guess, every branch on the tree in their family, which it adds up too.
That's their expectation,
Yes.
is that everybody gets an invitation.
Everybody, and they're both, doctors, and then they have colleagues that they want to be invited, and I don't understand inviting people to a wedding that you don't even know. I can understand a few family members that you haven't had the opportunity to meet yet,
Right.
but I don't understand your whole hospital being there.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even say hi to everybody at the
Right,
wedding?
right.
And that's, you're supposed to make sure that you stop at every table and you introduce each other, but I can't even imagine with all those people.
And was it easy for you to make that choice, to say, okay, even though this is not necessarily what I want, I'm gonna do this for my in-laws and their family?
I don't think there
How
was
did
a
that-
choice. No, I think it was just that this is the way it was gonna be. And he doesn't stand up to his parents too much, so it was just kinda expected. So I don't remember there being a conversation where we were like, what kind of wedding do you wanna have? I wanna have this, I wanna have that. It was just, big wedding, big poofy dress.
How does that make you feel, not having a choice in your own wedding? Or
Like,
not
it's not
feeling
my
like you
wedding.
have a choice?
I don't feel like it's my wedding. I feel like it's like a production. It's not, I would rather us, write vows for each other, but they want a traditional Catholic wedding, and that's not really a part of it.
If you felt like it were your own wedding, do you think planning it would be any easier?
Oh, yeah,
How would that
yeah.
change?
I think it would. I think I would enjoy it more. I don't think it would be as much as a chore as it's turning out to be. It would definitely be much simpler, especially my dress. But I think it would be, more fun, and I would like to have him involved in it more. It's all me. It's like whatever you want, whatever my mom wants. That's, and he says whatever I want, but he means whatever his mom says.
So if you were planning your own wedding instead of somebody else's wedding, how would it be different?
I think I would do something small. Either not in our backyard, because our backyard's not that big, but maybe like a park or a small country, not a country club, but like a small, park area that has a lodge or a banquet hall with grounds or something, just smaller and not a lot of family.
I guess what I was trying to say is if you were planning your own wedding, how would it be different in how you feel about it?
I think I'd feel like I had more control over it.
Do you think it would affect the rest of your life, how you feel about your job or how you feel about your friends?
Maybe I would be less overwhelmed, probably less tired and aggravated.
So it sounds like this wedding has a lot of effect on, it has a lot of power over you right now.
Yeah, I didn't realize that before, but yeah.
So it really affects like almost every aspect of your life, your friends.
It's so draining. It's so draining. Just the thought of it just starts, the wheels turning, and, even as I'm talking to you, I feel like in the back of my mind, I think I already forgot to call 2 people that I was supposed to call. Now I have to apologize for that, and then I have to apologize to my mother, because future mother-in-law, because she's the one that had me, referred them to me, and so I already looked bad to them, so.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
And I totally forgot that I was supposed to call them.
I'm just wondering how we're gonna get from not feeling like it's your own wedding to feeling like it's your own wedding without you feeling like you failed somehow, or that you failed somebody, or that, do you have any ideas as to how you can move to that point of really feeling like it's your wedding and that you're happy about it?
I think I would have to first talk to my fiance to explain to him how unhappy I think the production, because it's not even a wedding anymore, is making me. I think, and
Do you think he has a clue? Does he understand it
no,
all?
honestly, I haven't shared a lot of this with him. He's really his program's really difficult, so I haven't really discussed this with him. I was just trying to make it work.
Do you feel like it's affected your relationship in any way?
Yeah,
there
just being tired all the time he's not used to me being tired or sluggish or, I'm always very energetic and, that's one of the things that he liked about me is just, always moving, always going, always perky.
I mean, I certainly don't want to push you in a direction that you don't want to go, but just from what you're telling me, it sounds like the wedding has just become this huge anchor on your leg. That
I feel like, I do. I feel
down.
like there's cinder blocks just being piled on and piled on and piled on.
Do you, as far as the level of power that you feel to do something about it, like on a scale from 1 to 10, do you feel completely powerless? Do you feel like you could just?
I think right now I'm at a 2, but I think if I could get my fiance on my side, I think I would move up the scale a little bit.
Okay,
I
so
just think
pretty low. I mean, that's pretty close to the bottom of how much power you feel to change.
Mm-hmm.
But if if your fiance would side with you, what level would that be?
I think it would definitely increase. I think we would still have challenges because then we both would have to sit down and talk to my future in-laws. But I think that having him on my side would help. So I think it would probably go up to a 5 or a 6.
Okay. And do you think that would be a good level for you? Like, how would that affect how you would handle the wedding?
I think having more of a choice, and if he agreed, we would definitely downscale it. I don't want all these people who I don't know at my wedding.
Right.
I think that at least would help a little bit.
Okay. Well, I think we've made some progress. We've at least determined that it seems like the main presenting issue right now is that wedding, that you're
And I
just
didn't even
overwhelmed
realize
with
that.
the wedding. And that it seems like you'd really like to talk to your fiance about that. Can you foresee a time in the not so distant future where you might could sit down and talk to him?
Yeah, we have date night, and I think, we'll make sure that I'll pick a quieter place for us to go to. It won't be so much of we won't go to a bar or anything. I think we'll ask him if we can go to a quiet restaurant. I think we'll be able to talk then.
Do you feel any apprehension? Do you feel like how do you feel like he'll react when you tell him?
I think he'll be okay. I think he's going to be nervous for us to talk to his parents, and I am too.
That may be a conversation for a different day, but
I definitely think I would need to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, so let's do this. If you find time, make that appointment with your regular doctor, give the checkup, just to make sure that there's nothing physical going on. But and then you're gonna find time to talk to your fiance about the wedding.
Yeah.
And then how much time do you have between when the wedding is?
It's about 6 months away.
6 months.
Yeah.
So we still got a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's plan on that for this week, and then next week we can talk about how to maybe present your feelings to your in-laws in a way that you don't feel so much. So much anxiety. Okay. Well, I think do you feel better a little bit? At least
a little bit.
Identifying the issue, I think, is at least knowing what the problem is.
Yeah, I think that
helps
definitely
me a
helps.
lot. Okay. Well, thanks, Kalina. I'll see you next week.
Apparently it's your break time, so what we'll do is we'll process this when we come back. This won't be on your recording, but you can certainly take notes.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So,